All right, we're finally to the stage now. We're going to come in here and we're going to put our drip edge on the front. So we got to do just a little bit of prep work on the metal before we go up there. And we're going to do this in one piece versus having to do it with two pieces. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to cut about a ½ inch off of this side, the front side. But I'm not going to cut this portion right here. So we're only cutting the front facing vertical part. The horizontal part we are not cutting. We're going to create a flap. All right. So we cut that. And we're going to come right here. And we're going to cut another piece right here the same width. All right. With those two pieces cut, we're going to create this flap that'll fold over right here. And this just prevents anything from coming up under the drip edge. That's it. All right. Let me grab a couple screws, and then we're going to go up the ladder here. And I'll reposition everything. A little tough working from this angle here, but as long as you are getting the right spot at the end, then you can screw that on. That's going to work well. The problem I've got is ladder position isn't working, so I'm set too far back. I'm going to fold the ladder. And that should help big time. Oh yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get the first couple screws ready. And let's see here. So I decided, I think what would work best is showing you from the perspective of being up here, what this is looking like. So that's what we're going to do. So as you can see, you kind of find that spot where you know it's going to be flush, and that's what we're going to stick with. And I think it's right about, and I'm looking at the ridges too. I think it's right about here is our flush spot. I can find it, kind of feel it right there. I can feel it over here and as well on the front. So if that, I think it's right before it takes off over top of this ridge. So if I make sure that I'm on the ridge there, and then I've got the spot I want here, we're going to go ahead and start our drilling process. All right. So we're still at the spots where we want to be at. And I'm looking down here to make sure we're lined up. And right there that we're lined up. Notice when I let off, it does tilt a little bit. But I'll fix that because I'm going to come down here and put a screw in. So what I didn't do when I put that one is I didn't match it with the existing screws locations. Wasn't thinking about it. I was sitting there thinking about what's it take to get my first screw in. So that's something to think about. Try to match your screw locations. But even with this, I'm seeing some of these gaps and I want to put more screws in it. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice and tight at this point. So I'm going to get this other one that lines up with the existing ones here. All right, now we're going to grab the 10 snips and I need to make a cut here and I need to make a cut on the front because what we want is for this section to bend right at the middle, and we're going to cut here and we'll cut the entire front section and get this to bend over. So I will grab the 10 snips and I'm going to cut both of these areas. So let me grab that right quick. And we want it to be in the dead middle. And you know, the alternate to that is you end up two pieces. When this method here where we create that cut, we end up with a single piece. And that single piece is a lot easier to work with. Unless you had wind blowing this thing around. All right. So I'm looking at where, you know, dead center is. And dead center is right about in here. All right. So we got that cut. I'll move the camera. You can see that cut there. I'm going to move the camera where we're going to record the next cut from the front. So our cut is right there. So we're going to come straight up to match that cut. And you can see it went ahead and started to fold before I was even done. And that's okay. So that's I'd say that's something to note, is that it can start folding on you before you're done making the cut. So just be aware of that. And that turned out pretty good right there. And this will sit under the ridge except this front facing part right there. And I'm going to see if I can take a piece of pliers and bend this little piece out right there. So I'll bring the camera up there and show you what I'm talking about. So that we didn't end up with two separate pieces, I bent it here. So I'm going to take the pliers and bend that out. And then this is what it looks like from up top. And then it's following the same kind of guide that we were following over here. So I was following this side of that rib, and it may be a little different on this side because they're not perfectly matched, like this sheet matched with that sheet. So this one looks like it's going to lay on top of that rib on this side, and that's perfectly fine. So let me get the pliers and I'm going to fix that real quick. But you see how quick that goes. Didn't take a lot of time. So, and then we'll end up clipping off that edge over there. All right, so I just grabbed my linesman pliers here. And I'm going to put both of my gloves on because things are getting sharp. I'm going to pick this piece up and I'm going underneath and just trying to straighten it out. So what got us was the weight of this started to bend while it was still straight. So just be prepared that as you're making that cut, and if nobody's supporting that piece, it is going to bend and come on down. Now, I was able to get every bit of that back on out just using the linesman pliers, so it's no longer bent there. I will come back and put some silicone on this too, and we need to make probably a couple small cuts here so this will lay in better, because you see how it's overlapped right now. So Mike can get that to lay in there better with the cut. But let me take a look at that. Yep. All right, I took a little bit of that out. And when I screw that in, I think it'll lay in a little bit better. All right. I'll grab some screws and we'll start screwing this stuff in. Once we're done screwing this side, we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we can put the cap on. What I will remember to do this time is to line up all my screws. We live and we learn, right? So just remember, don't get ahead of yourself. When you're trying to put that first screw in, you want to line up all your screws. And you'll hear it as it starts to bite in, so you know when to back off. Let me reposition the ladder because I am not leaning over to do those last two right there. You might ask why to do black. Well, they had all the parts in for black, and I was ready to rock and roll. I didn't want to do green because I think that we'll do this like board and batten with black and blue. Blue is color he picked out, so I'm trying to go with that. All right, that's good. I'm going to get the 10 snips. We're going to cut this piece off over here. And that puts us one step closer to being done. So it's probably easier if I cut going this way. Oh, crap. Let me move the ladder. I can't cut like this with right-handed shears. 10 snips, whatever you want to call them. All right. So, see if I can grab the camera and I'll bring it closer over here. There goes the neighborhood. There we go. So the goal is I'm trying to cut this flush. Except I want to be able to fold over like a half inch right here. All right. Now with that out of the way, I can come in here and cut this little piece off. And then I'm going to come up and cut, and then I can fold that under. So I'll be right back, moving the ladder again. This works well from this angle because I am right-handed. There we go. You want to push that tab to where it's on top of the roof, not under the roof. All right, now that we're at this point, we can put screws in on the side to hold it on the side. So I'm push this part down to where it's level and screw the first screw in. I'm going to follow my screw pattern that I used on the roof. All right, going to move this over just a little bit and get these next two. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and pop a couple screws over here, and I'll move the camera so now you can see what I'm doing over here. So I'm just lining up these screws with the existing screws that I have up there. I'm going to pop a screw in here to hold that together. I'm going to, I can run some silicone over that as well. Worked out really good. See how these lines just line right up? I'm going to stick some silicone in that to hold that in place. Pretty legit. All right. Now we got to do the other side. So I think that last time I cut too much. So probably just cut a half to 3/4 of an inch. Don't get too crazy with it. This is where the linesman pliers will come in handy again to fold this over. So grab right there in the corner, grab the other one right in the corner, and then grab it in the middle. Very nice. All right, now we'll go to the other side and pop this on. So it'll be that side that will go on because it's going to look like that. All right, I'm going to reposition the ladder to the other side. All right, we got the shears, linesman pliers, we got the drill, we got the screws. That's all we need. I'm going to back this ladder up just a little bit more. Just like last time, we're going to use the full sheet or the full drip edge. And then we're going to find, there we go. We're going to find what is the best center. To me, you got to move it around just a little bit to make sure. It's going to be on top of this one short ridge up here. I know you can't see that, but remember, important thing is to get a good line over here on the drip edge for this drip edge over here. Let me get one of my screws ready. And when we put the first screw in, don't forget, screw in accordance with the screws you've already put in. All right, with the first one in, that's not so bad to get the rest of them in. And I'm gonna move the camera so now you can see, but I wanted you to see just how that was working from the ground level and then up top. So put one closest to you in, and then as it's angled off like that, you'll rotate it back in line and get in line down there before you put the next one in. All right, so I'm going to take, I like to screw these screws without a glove on my screw hand. So I'm lined up on this ridge all the way. So that's where we're going to want to be so that we stay straight and flush, especially as this is going to bend over. So now I would dare to say that it would be about 8 feet 3 inches. And that's it, that's right. We're gonna cut it at 8.3. You can do a bird's eye view of the cutting. Oh, this roof. I wouldn't want to fall off of here. I think I'm going to go to 8.4 to give us just a little bit of more overlap. Yes, I'm going to use a circular saw. Booyah. All right. I'm going to put a few more screws in my pocket. And we're going to grab all of the foam material to go on top. I'm going to take it out of this plastic so I don't have to take this plastic up there. It's like the external seal. So we have the internal seal up top, and then we've got the external seal. We've got a ridge cap or cap plate, And we're grabbing our drill driver. All right, flip this around. Let's take a look at, see how this goes here. Maybe I can do one at a time. Remember these tabs? Oh, we'll put it on upside down. And they're super sticky. I think another thing is don't kneel on any of your screws while you're up here. It's going to hurt. All right, with that side done, we'll move it over here and we'll do the other side. All right. All right. Let's lay this down and see how it goes. Nice. Oh, crap. That's a great lesson learned. You may want to back up where you put your gasket to where this thing's going to land. So, nothing like rework. Let me back this up. Hey, like I always say, you will learn from my mistakes. But the reason I'm backing it up to there is I notice that that's going to seat better if we back it up to there. Yeah, that was almost a disaster. So this is just like when you're trying to do the internal one, and I waited till I knew exactly where the panels were going to contact the roof. I should have done the same thing here. What? Huh? Yeah, give me a second. Wow. It's like I really didn't do right with this. So make sure you know 100% where you want this ridge cap to be before you start putting the stuff down, because I'm real close to where I was in the beginning, but still 2 inches off from there. That's good. Pretty good. A little bit. There we go. All right, let me hop over to this other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a screw in here to hold this where I want it to be. Yep. So going right on top of these ribs. Oh, the battery is dead. And I knew that from before. Can you give me a battery? It's a DeWalt battery. Okay. I have to show him how to take the battery off. If you have to push the button and then pull it, yep. I put this one until it clicks too, and the light will start flashing. You're supposed to get a lot of rain over the next couple days. Huh? Yeah. Yes. All right, that worked out really well right there. And then to come down here, make sure our gasket is pushed in where it needs to be. And I do this one on this rib. All right. Now, we'll swap on this side. I'm going to move the gasket material to where it's in this flat area because I've got it in that area there. And that was me totally not thinking about where things were going to land. All right, so I'm going to bring this one down to meet it. And then I'll do the one on the end. Super good lesson learned. Because you definitely want this to be in the flat area so it gets compressed and it actually forms a gasket or a seal for you. Versus up there uncompressed and anything can flow over it or past it. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go to the other end, put that one in. All right, now I'm gonna hit every rib as we're coming back. I'm gonna try to make sure I'm in the gasket too. Unfortunately, I got leftover gasket material all over this roof. Is what it is at this point. Again, make sure you know where your gasket is. All right, let me look at putting a couple screws in the very front as well. It's pretty solid. All right. So that's how everything turned out. And I think looks pretty good. And we're going to move on to the next thing. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. But, yep, that's it.